politics and everything in between here. Professor Tom Ojienda is still with us, senior counsel, and also the Senate for Kisumu aspirant. Professor Adam Zolo is also here, political commentator, and Kiprito Arap Kirwa, deputy chair, UDA. Let's talk about the numbers that are coming through here on the front page of the Daily Nation. According to them, this is a Tifa poll. 39% for Odinga and 35% for William Ruto. They're saying that the Azimio Umoja One Kenya coalition presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has shot up 7 points in under 1 month to poll 39%. That's according to a new survey there. They're saying this is happening according to a poll by Tifa conducted on May 17th, 1 day after Mr. Odinga named NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua as his running mate, and 2 days after DP Ruto announced MP Rigathi Gachagua as his pick. And Professor Olo, you're the only one who would be neutral on this. Do you agree with these figures? And was there a major impact after the announcement of the running mates from both sides?
Trev, I'm sure when you say I'll be neutral, people will hit you out there on social media that I'm not neutral, but I'm always objective. I'm sympathetic to one side. I think I have to go on record, but I'm always objective in my analysis. And it's based on logic and facts. Look, when you look at the figures, you look at what could have swayed the figures. And I think these figures are a direct result, or there's a contributing factor of the running mates. And let me explain. When Honorable Deputy President William Ruto named Rigathi Gachagua, you can say that there was no excitement. Instead, it was preceded by what you can call a real tug of war in a coalition that was supposedly not having any issue with the decision on the running mate. Finally, they had an issue. If you compare Deputy President's running mate and Azimio's running mate, then you can say Rigathi Gachagua was more of consolidation. What do I mean? The Mount Kenya vote that both sides are really targeted has been pro-Ruto for the most part. And therefore, when you choose somebody from there, and especially Rigathi Gachagua, all he did was consolidate. In other words, if I don't pick from Mount Kenya, there are chances I can lose some voters to Azimio. And therefore, I need to consolidate. In other words, no new voter came on board by you pronouncing the name of Rigathi Gachagua as your running mate. Compare that to Azimio, where you, as we have already said, there was a real tough battle. Although there were 11 aspirants, you can say that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was running against a Mount Kenya candidate. It wasn't automatically Martha Karua, but there was the fact that Kalonzo Musyoka was running against one of the Mount Kenya candidates who could either have been Martha Karua, it could have been Peter Munya, it could have been Peter Kenneth, it could have been Sabina Chege. I think when Honorable Raila Odinga made Martha Karua the running mate, he scored on so many fronts. First, he scored in eating into the Mount Kenya vote. Eating into the Mount Kenya vote to the extent that his choice of Martha Karua meant that that is also Uhuru's choice, who is the president. It also meant that it is the choice of affiliate parties from Mount Kenya. And we have seen Martha going around with Jubilee officials. We have seen her going around with PNU officials. In addition to the Mount Kenya vote, he scored on the women vote. In as much as the women vote is not what you can call a consolidated bloc the way the ethnic vote is in this country, but you can see that those women who are not diehard Kenya Kwanza, those women who are still undecided, I think they moved with Martha. Thirdly, there is the civil society bloc. They might not have so many votes as such, but they set the agenda, and they also moved with Martha. So for me, those numbers are mostly as a result of the choices that the two protagonists made for running mate.
All right. Honorable Kiro, did you miss the mark when it comes to the choices of the running mate?
Well, I'll be shooting myself on the foot
Of course.
if I was to engage on a matter that has been sealed. But I just wanted to look at these statistics. First of all, the time they were taken, the tempo had not cooled. And if you want to get the truth in statistics, you must also allow a certain period. If, let's say, you took statistics after I've just finished a rally in a certain constituency as a presidential candidate, it is highly likely that that presence of the candidate will affect the information that you are going to get from the statistics. So I would have wished them to wait for 1 week to see how things will settle, because on either side, I know there are some souls who are not happy with the running mate on our side and also on the other side. But of course, there were a number of people who were excited, given the fact that the gender issue in Kenya is increasingly becoming very important. The second issue about these statistics is that it still worries me that 25% of Kenyans are yet to decide, 26 actually to be exact, are yet to decide who is their preferred presidential candidate. Why am I saying this? Anything can go, because today we are saying Raila is at 39, Ruto is at 35. Now, if the 25%, or those statistics can also be distributed accordingly, but if there was anything to swing, somebody will believe that the votes were rigged, because that margin of 25% undecided Kenyans worries me. Either they know who they want to vote for, or they have chosen not to vote, or they have not decided who they prefer. That is my worry. On the substantive issue of the running mate, I will admit that Martha Karua is a serious Kenyan. I'm not in any way saying Gachagua is not a serious Kenyan. I have worked with her, and I know her very well, that she's somebody focused. And but the taste of the pudding is in the eating. At times, a good running mate may end up being a problem to you. The example of William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, they used to have similar ties, similar shirts, almost high five as they addressed national issues. Today, I don't know if they were together in a room for 3 hours, whether they will have anything to talk about.
So you're saying a good running mate could be a problem to you. Are you then admitting that William Ruto was a problem to the president?
No, I'm not. I did not say, I said the pair. I'm not admitting that William Ruto. Why do you like? I'm saying
running mate can be a problem.
You're a good running mate for the time being. You know, running mate means you win as a pair. But the most important thing is, how do you operate for 5 years? To me, that is more important. Whether the pair of Raila Mother or Raila Ruto Rigathi is going to be the best pair. In fact, I think we should not even be analyzing, and I'm not setting new questions. The way I see Kenya and the way I understand Kenya, we should be asking ourselves, what does it mean? Is running mate somebody that you want to win votes, or is it somebody that you want to see beyond winning of votes? Because that is, to me, that is more important than somebody that can take you to the office, then you become a monster, then you start fighting. And the rest of us will have to watch for 5 years, and we may not be able to remove you from office because you'll be taking advantage of the incumbency. So these are some of the challenges that we must look dispassionately.
Okay.
I'm the deputy chair of UDA, but at times we must see, is Rigathi Ruto going to be a ticket that can last 5 years, given so many problems in Kenya? Is Mother Raila ticket going to last for 5 years? Will there be disharmony? Because the two are very strong-headed.
Yeah.
It's only that Raila might have been mellowed by age, but the truth of the matter, Raila and Mother, during their heydays, you will not keep them in the same room for long.
So you think there's a possible fallout on that? Because, okay, according to the Tifa poll, it's 14% that are still undecided, and 9% chose not to respond. But, Prof, you're the one who was talking about these polls. Was the choice of the running mate the deciding factor? Because we spoke to you before it was done, now it has happened.
Trevor, clearly, I will just point in that direction, that the choice of Martha Karua as running mate, the 64-year-old former Minister for Constitutional Affairs, former judicial officer, I mean, she's been a magistrate, and twice, you know, Martha walked out on President Moi, if you remember. Then in 2009, resigned from President Kibaki's government when she said that she had not been consulted over the appointment of judges, you know, because the Justice Ministry that will now come back is a ministry that oversees the functions of the judiciary and the other justice sectors, like the police in some sense, ESCC in some sense, and other justice-related components of this country. Now, that means a very powerful ministry. Remember, if it has a constitutional affairs element, now we are not making the constitution. It means it will be at the center of amending the constitution. So perhaps it is to that ministry that BBI, as refashioned, I'm sure, properly, will be created. Now, and therefore, Martha Karua, the deputy president designate, has changed a lot on the political landscape. And I think if you look at the gender variations, you know, in the 2007 data, 9.1 million Kenyans registered as voters are female, compared to about 10.4, 10.5 million male. You can imagine what kind of gender, what kind of women Martha Karua will attract, and how that will tilt the vote basket of Raila Odinga. And I think it is that attraction and that reality that you have younger voters, female voters, who will be voting for the first time and who are excited at a Martha Karua deputy presidency, that explains why this poll has gone up. And I think it will even go higher. Of the 14 undecided, I can tell you, it's only a matter of weeks when things settle, as my brother, the former minister, says, you will actually get Raila leading the lead, having a lead of about 8%. A matter of weeks. I am no professional, pollster, but I see it clearly. But let me also tell you this, Trevor, that I think this country sees a third liberation in the offing. They want to see things done differently. There are youth who want to see instant change in the manner this country is run. And a Martha Karua deputy presidency in a Raila presidency, I think, offers hope to these youth. That partly explains why the poll is the way it is. Yeah. That you have younger people polling, you have younger people excited about this choice. Mm-hmm. The comparison perhaps is that the 57-year-old Rigathi Gachagua, former PA to the former head of public service, Philip Mbidi, and the speechwriter of Moi, by the way, has a lot of experience in public affairs. But I think the push and pull here, for us, what is key here is that Deputy President Ruto has had a stranglehold on the Mount Kenya region. So Martha is taking a slice of what belonged to Ruto and Rigathi before, and putting it into Raila's vote basket. Remember, Raila's vote basket remains strong because with the deputy chair of ODM, the current governor of Kakamega, in the financial docket, I can assure you that those promises to Mudavadi and Wetangula will not attract a vote because they are unlikely to secure the 70%. So remember, Paranya, now as head of Treasury, means the entire Treasury, the management of Treasury, goes to Western. The Western vote will fill the basket of Azimio la Umoja.
Professor,
that remember Munya, what Munya did. I told you Munya was one of those strong people, and I told you that in Munya lies the hope for Meru. You see what he did yesterday? After the declaration, he was in Meru. They held big rallies in Meru, and I can assure you that Meru is locked for Azimio. And Meru brings in a vote basket over 762,000. The Meru County alone. Tharakanithi has 333. The Kindiki Tharakanithi has about 333,000 votes.
Yeah.
I can tell you that we are going to whip Kenya Kwanza. Whip Kenya Kwanza.
Professor Lo, do you agree with Professor Ojienda's analysis of the impact?
Let me say this. I agree, but in a different way.
Yeah.
You see, you remember even you in the media said that both sides were sizing each other insofar as the running mate was concerned.
Yes.
If you pick this, I pick this. What you in the media didn't point out, because you didn't have a way of knowing, that the two sides would also size each other in terms of power sharing formula.
Yeah.
The power sharing in Kenya Kwanza is locked in an agreement. The power sharing formula that Azimio unveiled is open-ended, and I think that's what Professor Ojienda is talking about. Now, if you go to the power sharing of Kenya Kwanza that is locked in an agreement, the conditionalities that come with it, one might argue, is as good as saying, you are at my mercy. Because if you go by statistics, and I'm sure my good friend Waziri Kipruto Rapkira would agree, that if Musalia Mudavadi, when he ran in 2013, Professor Ojienda remind me, he got what percentage from lawyers? Maybe 30%.
30%.
30%.
Raila got some.
He ran asking for his vote for the presidency. And you only managed 30%. Now you are telling him, you and Weta combined deliver 70%.
Impossible.
I can guarantee you, because even some of their lieutenants have now put in a disclaimer that where have you seen that 70%? Some have said, that's the Secretary General of ANC said that 70% was just for scientific purposes.
Yeah. He was,
But the author of the document in this television station, my good friend Professor Kithure Kindiki, said he authored it. It is there. And when Wahiga asked him if it was consensual the way he was saying, his answer was, if they didn't believe in it, they wouldn't have put pen to signature.
Yeah.
So the moment you see the side that has been given 70% itself starting to question, then you are also sure that they also know that that is nearly an impossibility. And begs the question, seriously, why was that 70% included?
Yeah.
In my own analysis, is that all along, until Azimio grew in waves and bounds. Deputy President William Ruto was saying, if you want to support me, join UDA. He only changed when he saw even political parties from Mount Kenya, the Moses Kurias, the Mwangi Kiunjuris, the William Kabogos, saying, we have to come with our parties.
Yeah.
And therefore now he took advantage and also went for Musalia. But if you look at that agreement, my political sense tells me he's back to where he wanted to be. That the only constitutional position is reserved for UDA. The other ones are pegged on a percentage. Look at the percentage given to Maendeleo Chap-Chap.
35%.
35%. Look at my good friend Alfred Mutua. He was the governor, and then he had 4 MPs, and then I think 40 MCS. And most small parties, I can tell you, when they get MPs or MCS, it's not because of the party, it's because of the individual acumen most of the time.
Yeah.
So you give him 35%, and it's not that I'm a BBI guy, but I was. But Mutua himself said that silently, that he was, I think he was in a TV station, he said that in addition to the infrastructure ministry, he was also assured of being a deputy to Mudavadi. He said it. I think it's on record. So there are some silent agreements which were also agreed, which are akin to BBI that the side has opposed so much.
Yeah.
Look at Amason Kingi.
Yeah, 50%.
50%, not even in coast. Kilifi.
Yeah.
Which, as you know, is an ODM stronghold. But back to the question you asked, I think that Azimio responded, and Azimio is saying, look, the same thing that is being offered to Kenya Kwanza with conditionalities, as we are offering without any conditionality.
Okay.
That Western Kenya, here is treasury.
Yeah.
But I'm not tying Oparanya's hands that you must bring this percentage.
Okay.
Marende, here is the Speaker of Senate, but I'm not tying anybody's hands that you must bring this percentage. Then let me say one thing on what he has said about Meru, and me, I want to look at it from a Mount Kenya East perspective, so that it is Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and Meru. I would say that my good friend, Professor Kindiki, and I've worked with him closely, we've done some consultancies together, is a decent man. And I know that I can't vote in Kenya Kwanza to decide to them the running mate, but as happens in democracies, you want an opposition that is decent. In Britain, they say the loyal opposition. And I think Professor Kindiki himself said that he won based on the opinion polls, on the electoral college, he won. But because he's still in UDA, he had to be accommodative and said that there are other parameters, which he doesn't mention, that the other parameters overrided.
That were considered.
That were considered. But look, by that, and remember he called it consensual, and I agree it was consensual. He wanted to run for governor. He was told, don't run here. I'm sure he hurted. I'm sure his side hurts. Then there was the speaker from Embu. He first said he wanted to be the president. Then he was brought on board for running mate, for consideration for running mate. He didn't get it. And in the agreement, his current position has already been allocated to Ford Kenya. So here you have a whole Mount Kenya East within Kenya Kwanza hurting.
Okay.
Really hurting.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as Professor Jenda says, Azimio is going to milk that. And you saw Kiraitu himself coming saying, now this ticket.
Okay, let me begin, Kiru, on this and get a response. First of all, on these numbers issues and the conditionalities, your team has had quite a number of arguments based on the numbers that was given to Wetangula and Mudavadi and even Mutua and Amason Kingi. From your perspective, was these positions based on those numbers, or like Simon Gikuru, the ANC Secretary General, was saying here yesterday, that it is not based on the numbers, that those people are the ones who have to deliver? It is the entire team so that they win, but not so that they are given the positions. The positions are almost guaranteed. What is your reading of these conditions?
First of all, I wish you could give me the same time.
You have the same time
to answer the two professors.
Yes.
And at the beginning, I told you, when you put me between two professors, you are creating trouble. And I'm happy Professor Olo has admitted that he is not objective. He's objective, but he's also partisan.
Yeah.
So when you bring two ODM guys here and you bring me in between, you want to put me in trouble, which I'm now willing to get out of. First of all, when you look at the performance that you are talking about in Western Kenya, if you are saying Fort Kenya and it's only Western Kenya, it is a collective effort that we are going to put in place. Remember, UDA has some supporters both in Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Vihiga, and Kakamega, and to a large extent, to a certain extent in Busia. So it is not that Musalia is going to deliver as ANC, Wetangula as Fort Kenya. It is a collective effort of all of us. And those percentages will also be backed on realities of the day. In politics, such projections they have, because I'm happy Professor here is joining politics, he will realize there are certain predictions that never come to pass. Even the day I lost elections, I was a sitting minister and I had enormous amount of resources. I knew I had lost elections at midnight when the figures were not adding up, and I lost by a paltry 1,300 votes. So some of their projections are a bit theoretical, because you cannot say we have been wiped out of the Eastern Bloc of the mountain. We are still there, because you've not seen any of our players move out of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Today we have Kingi, who moved away from Azimio. Today we have Mutua, who moved away from Azimio. And therefore it tells you there is something they saw on the other side that was not making them comfortable, and they sought solace in our coalition. Number two, when we talk about Eastern Bloc, there are many more positions that we shall offer to people from Embu, people from Meru, and also people from Tharaka. And therefore, we've not ignored them, because we are still dealing with many other issues. When we form government, there are certain positions that may be even better than that of a speaker. And we know that. And we are confident Muturi will have a position. Kindiki, although he has said he does not want to appoint politics in the intervening period, there are many other engagements that he can have as a practicing lawyer. And he himself was here, and it was very clear that he was not crying. But I can see Adam Solo is mourning more than the bereaved. So finally, on the issue of these conditionalities, conditions are just benchmarks for performance. But when the reality dawns, we are not going to ignore any of our partners. And remember, I've been saying there are no small parties or big parties, because every partner counts. Possibly that one vote that will make the difference between our team and the other team may come from Amason Kingi. And it is not entirely that ODM still enjoys overriding support in Kilifi. I can admit, yes, Mombasa. But in Kwale, we are doing very well. In Kilifi, we are ahead of ODM. And we have those statistics.
Yeah.
And in Tana River, we have substantial support, and also in Lamu, because Lamu is a combination of ANC. Remember, the immediate former governor of Lamu was in ANC and is now vying for the same position, and is likely to win that particular county. So the demographics are going to change. Even Western Kenya, it is not the way it was 2013, it's not the way it was 2017. There is substantial presence of Kenya Kwanza supporters. Okay. The only thing that may mess us up is possibly internal angles among the candidates going for governor, going for MP in various constituencies. Otherwise, the presidential candidate of Kenya Kwanza has substantial presence in Busia, strong presence in Kakamega, and overriding presence in both Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, where I come from. Okay. So, well, these figures are good, but I wish in October or in September, we come back with the same headlines, and the two individuals are here with me. Yeah.
We'll still call the same panel and see what happens. I want us to talk about two more topics before we wind up. One of them is the independent presidential candidates, 38 of them being listed by IEBC. The other one is UDA's push to have ICT CS Joe Musheru resign. But let's broaden that question, Prof, because there's a push from the other side that the ICT CS is not neutral and therefore could influence the outcome given the position where he holds. But let's broaden that question. As the current infrastructure lies, do you believe there's going to be a credible election on the 9th of August?
But Trevor, barring any appointed reference to the mismanagement of the 2022 election by IEBC, I do not see anything that has been brought to light that shows that IEBC does not have the competence to conduct a proper election. I think that there was a little issue about party lists. I think that was sorted out by the court. And I think IEBC has kept within timelines. Chebukati and his commissioners are working well to ensure that timelines are met. Yesterday, they gazetted over 5,400 independent candidates as per the timelines. The presidential candidates, as you've said, are out there. They're about 38. They were 47. And I think the infrastructure and the expectation from IEBC under the provisions of the Constitution, Article 88, going forth, are well set out. The procurement issues have not been an issue yet. No one has gone to court to challenge procurement of electoral material. Nobody has gone to Parliament to challenge the question of resources. And I think as long as IEBC has the resources to conduct the election, I do not see why there should be a problem. But the little issue that has arisen of His Excellency Deputy President pointing fingers at the ICT minister, I think are probably issues that go to the question of authority and power, because the minister will be in office until another minister is appointed. And he must execute the duties of his office as a minister. I do not see anything untoward that the minister has done, and it lies upon the Deputy President and Kenya Kwanza to say that the minister has conducted himself in a manner that is befitting of a removal. That would involve a parliamentary process. But I think that the appointment and removal of ministers is a prerogative of His Excellency the President. And unless you then can go to Parliament and have motions brought to establish violations of Article Chapter 6, Chapter 6, or that the integrity questions, or that he has violated the law in a manner unbefitting of a minister, and therefore should be removed. I do not see the allegations of His Excellency the Deputy President seeing the light of day, unless maybe there's something that he knows that we do not know. Then I think what you do is perhaps say it so that we know that this is the manner that the Minister for ICT will interfere with the elections. But we do not know. He does not say what question There is. We have had elections in the last many years. The system will be electronic. And I think that the amendment to the Elections Act, specifically sections 39 and 44, speak to using both the manual system and the electronic system as alternatives. Okay. And I think going forth, that the IEBC reverted to the previous mode, so that you're able to avail both, and so that one will be a substitute to the other. Remember the way the black book turned out in the election petitions, where the black book was used as a backup to the electronic register. And I think in an election, and this I say this, Trevor, because I've done many election petitions as an advocate. In an election, what will win an individual or a contestant an election is proper oversight and having enough agents at the polling station to give oversight to the process. And these agents must be alive during the vote counting, the entire process from the beginning to the end, so that you have sight over vote stuffing and vote counting from the beginning to the end. Okay. And you ensure that proper identification is done, so that you do not have the wrong people voting or people who do not have documents.
Okay. Professor Leo, but perception